Welcome once again to the Consultation Institute and our little summary of consultation this week. I guess we are still somewhat in the fallout from the parliamentary debate a couple of weeks ago on what was known as Clause 119. And the National Health Service in England is still somewhat traumatised by the degree of political invective aimed mostly at the government's plans, but also in defence of the government's plans for what should happen when trust special administrators have to reorganise hospitals. But that's very much in the UK. I have with me Remmert. Remmert's been working with us for a couple of months, and Remmert, you're from Holland. So what have you been doing with us?
Well, these last couple of months I've done some research on the Dutch consultation practice. You've expressed the desire to find out how it's done in Holland, because basically every country has the same problems, but they handle it differently. So I've done some research, a lot of reading. I reached out to a lot of people in Holland, including academics working for the University of Tilburg and Antwerp.
And what we did, of course, was put you on some of our training courses so you could compare practice over in this country with what's happened over in the Netherlands.
And based on those findings, on the courses I attended, I hope to gather a list of a set of best practices here in the UK and in Holland, and hopefully we can compare them and come up with a set of best practices which we can use in both the UK and in Holland.
And you discovered something like the Institute by way of a best practice centre, which I understand you're going to visit.
Yep. It's a government agency. It's part of the Dutch Ministry of Infrastructure and Environment. They do basically the same thing as we do, the TCI does, only they focus on major infrastructure projects. There's another initiative. It was made by the Dutch Ministry of Justice. They have a website called internetconsultation.nl. It allows all government agencies and MPs to upload draft policies or laws or programs of action. And it gives people like you and me, or organizations or businesses, the opportunity to react to certain draft laws or policies.
Now, that is interesting, not least because we sometimes forget in this country that there are other places that do a similar process. Yeah. So we're going to put a lot of focus on this. In fact, Remmert has been working with us to prepare a draft outline proposal for a multi-client study, so we can compare not just the Netherlands, but the other countries in the EU. We've even looked at America. I have to say this, Remmert, you and I discovered that the cull of swans on the Hudson River in New York was acquiring an enormous amount of worldwide publicity. Yep. And we spoke to an organisation called Goose Watch, who were fascinated by the fact that had this taken place in our country, there would have been recourse to the courts for judicial review if the authorities had not consulted properly. Sadly, that doesn't happen in New York, but there we are. That's why we're the world leaders in consultation. And let's see if we still are world leaders this time next week.